the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And my mom is a little sick right now, so
Yes,
don't mind if you hear
I'm
her
coming
sniffling.
down with something, so I'm a little slow.
I know. I'll try to cut out when you cough and stuff, so don't worry.
I don't cough that much, but I'm feeling real tired.
Yeah, but recently we went on a long weekend to Disney World over Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. So we're just going to recap our trip here. So I'll say when we planned this trip, we planned it mainly because of my work, so that I didn't want to have to take off too much time from my work. So that's why we planned it over the long weekend since I had that Monday off. And so we both started by coming down on that Friday, which was Friday, January 16th. So my parents came down a little bit earlier than I worked a half day and then came down as well. I literally worked the half day in the airport. My flight was at 12:20. I was on a call at 11:30 to 12. And as they were calling my boarding group number, the call was hanging up and I was boarding that plane. Like talking about cutting it close, right? But yeah, so we both flew down, and then when we got down there, we were staying at Bay Lake, which is where we own Fort DVC. We did get one of the new rooms, which was really exciting because we hadn't seen the new rooms yet.
I was impressed.
Yeah, it was really fun to see. As soon as I walked in the elevator, I knew it was different. I was like, oh, this is the new section. I was just like, I haven't seen this yet. And yeah, the rooms themselves looked really great. I really like how they renovated these rooms. It's like the way that they've done the modern art on the walls is really nice.
Oh, the art is beautiful.
Yeah, it's an Mary Blair-esque modern art style is how I kind of describe it.
Right.
But all the new furniture looks really great. They've changed, like some of like the pull-out beds and stuff like that to make them a bit more comfortable in the room. Yeah. So overall, really great. Definitely like the rooms.
I was impressed because I never liked the room in the Bay Lake. I said that we own in Bay Lake, which is very good for convenience and the fact that we got a good deal on it when we bought it because they were just building and whatever. I never liked it. It's the colors drove me crazy. The lime green and brown.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They redid the color scheme to be warmer.
The booth in that room drove me crazy because nobody could ever sit there comfortably. Once we walked in and we saw that they had redone it, and they have a table now with chairs, which is much better, and the coloring and the lighting.
They warmed up the colors more to be more neutral brown, I would say.
Yes.
They still have some of that modern like green-esque and kind of in the room.
But not as heavy as it was.
Yes.
And the bathroom, I got to tell you, I used to complain all the time because trying to do your hair or makeup or anything in that bathroom, you could not see a thing. There was no makeup mirrors, no heavy lighting, no anything. And they completely redid the bathroom so that they did the mirrors with the lighting behind them. Mm-hmm. And they had a makeup mirror. So now it was like convenient to get up in the morning and go in there and do your makeup. I didn't have to go find a window so I could sit by it and do my makeup and stuff. I got to tell you, I was really impressed on how they changed it. And the artwork was beautiful.
Yeah, same here. I definitely really liked it. So if you would like to see what the room looks like in some of the artwork, I will have, again, I'm going to have the vlog posted this week as well. So the podcast comes out Monday. The vlog will come out Tuesday on the YouTube channel. So you can watch the vlog and see kind of how I did a quick room tour of what it looks like. All right, so after we got to our rooms, we headed over to Disney Springs. The typical, I feel like what everyone does on their first arrival day is go to Disney Springs and do some shopping. We kind of just walked around, nothing too crazy, I would say. And then we had dinner at Summer House on the Lake, which is one of our favorite restaurants now. As I say, the grilled artichoke has me. It's like, I love it so much. I just love artichoke as well. And I don't cook artichoke. Artichoke is a little tricky to just make. It's hard just to make one single artichoke.
We can't make grilled, technically. I've never made a grilled artichoke. I've only made the artichokes the Italian way. So I would think it takes a little bit of finesse to do it on the barbecue and grill it the right way.
Yeah, but we had the grilled artichoke, and then I had the margarita pizza, and my mom had shrimp cocktail. Yeah. And then we also did get some cookies as well to go. We got the s'mores cookie, I know was one of them. And
Snickerdoodle.
The Snickerdoodle cookie. And the almond cookie as well.
Almond cookie. Yeah. Oh, I love their almond cookie.
Which were all very good. And for dessert that night, I did have my little Rice Krispie treat that I got at Goofy's Candy Co. earlier that day. So the next morning when we got up, we were heading out to Epcot. So it was funny. This was the opening weekend for Festival of the Arts. Now, when we booked this trip, we did not know it was going to be the opening weekend of the Festival of the Arts. So the Festival of the Arts started on February 16th.
Not like it made a difference.
Yeah, the Festival of the Arts started on February 16th, and we went on February 17th. So the first Saturday of the Festival of the Arts. Yeah, January 17th. So yeah, the first Saturday of the Festival of the Arts. So we took the monorail over. And when we got there, I would say we did have Lightning Lane. So we went on all the rides with Lightning Lane. But I will note, it's like I thought it would have been more crowded, I would say.
I was pleasantly surprised, yes. We've been there where you can't move. Yeah. You're walking and you can't move. I got to tell you, it was
a lot of the lines for the booths, especially like those high booths, right, had definitely had some long lines, like some like the ones with like the bacon wrapped to this or that.
But they moved pretty quickly, considering.
They definitely do. But
I've seen longer.
What we were seeing as well is that, for instance, the Florida annual pass holders, this is the blockout weekend for them. So a lot of the locals would not be able to go to the park unless they had the high tier annual pass.
Right.
Now, of course, there definitely are a lot of people who still have that high tier annual pass that can still go. But for instance, our friends who live in Florida, they said like, oh, we can't meet you in the park because that's one of the blockout weekends is that
we
weekend.
only got to see them Friday night because they couldn't come in.
Yeah. So I think that contributed to the fact that the parks weren't as crowded as I would expect them to be on a Saturday
it
and
was
then as well
pleasant.
on the Sunday. Because again, a lot of the locals who would normally just go for the weekend for fun, just on their own, just for something to do type of thing, they couldn't go. So the only people who were there were true tourists, or I would say journalists who were journaling, again, the Festival of the Arts for the opening
Let's
weekend.
also, as we discussed, remember that when you try to get a seat in Epcot, usually people do not want to sit in the sun because it's so hot that you're baking if you sit in the sun. So everybody's vying for all those shade seats. Well, it was so cold that people were welcoming sitting in the sun.
Yeah, there were seats everywhere.
So there was
chilly.
no matter where we went, I could find a seat, which is something I need to do now. I just need to sit down once in a while. I can't be on my feet 12 hours. I just need to sit down. I got to tell you, we didn't have any problems finding a seat because nobody cared that they were sitting in the sun. It actually made you feel better.
Yeah.
You put your face up to it and said, oh my God, thank God, a little warmth.
Yeah, this Epcot day was the warmest we had of the whole weekend.
Yes.
So it kind of got up to the low 70s in the
Perfect
middle of the
weather.
day. But
Yes.
then in the evening, it was like back in the 40s,
Yes,
like
it
right
was
40s,
cold
50s.
again.
So it was pretty
Right.
chilly. But the first ride we went on was Spaceship Earth. My mom picked Chinese as the language. So
Just for the
I
hell of
realized
it.
all of my videos are in Chinese. So some of them I can't use. I can't use the audio for them because it's in Chinese. But then we walked through the Disney on Broadway display, which is really cool to see.
They changed from the last time we saw
Yeah,
it.
so they do this every year where they bring in a lot of the costumes from all the Disney Broadway shows, and they will also have a lot of the Disney Broadway or even just other actors and actresses perform as well from either
Yes.
the shows they were in or other shows as well too, which is really cool to see. We didn't get to see one of those shows this time, but we did walk through the exhibit and see all the costumes, and these costumes are absolutely gorgeous when you see these costumes, right? Like the attention to detail is just
Oh God, when
phenomenal.
you see them up close, it is so amazing.
It's funny, they had something there that was promoting the Disney Beauty and the Beast national tour, and we were actually seeing that
Yes.
show in a few weeks in Philadelphia. So I'm very excited to see that show. And so we also saw two new this year is Aladdin's lamp. So this lamp used to be on the marquee in New York City.
Yeah, you don't
and
realize
so
how big
they
it
didn't say
was.
why it was taken down, but now they have it in Epcot right now on display, and every few minutes some steam comes out of, the spout of the genie lamp. So that was really cool to see as well. We walked through Journey of Water, of course. Oh, and then we did Test Track, which was really fun. So this is a big deal because this is a 3.0 of Test Track, right? The third iteration. So we had that
that's
first
right. They've changed
iteration.
it so many times.
Yeah, we had that first iteration when it opened with the test dummies, the second with the car that you would customize your own car, then, test your own car. And now we have the third iteration. So we went on the third iteration. It basically has a storyline of this man talking to the AI car or the AI house, I would say. And they're kind of having a little conversation over the idea of like automation in your home. So automation home, your automated car, things like that, basically like a smart home, basically is what they review. And I thought it was kind of boring, in my opinion. I thought the plot it was just boring to me. There was really nothing to it. I was just like, I feel like this is not really that interesting, honestly. But my mom said that she liked it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought they revved up certain areas of it.
Yeah.
So you weren't just going through it. It was like they revved up some of the different areas in it. And I'm not a big car person, so when it comes to like all the different styles of cars and stuff, that kind of stuff. So I didn't miss that as much, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, I just thought the plot was boring. I was just like, I didn't really care that much for the customized cars, but I did like the idea of like that racing aspect in it.
Racing aspect.
Because that is a car thing, right? And when you
Right.
go on the version of Test Track in Disneyland, the Radiator Springs version, that's what you're doing is you're racing in that version.
Okay.
So it's like I kind of like that idea that you're in
that
a
would
car
be
and you're
cool, yeah.
racing. But in this one now, it's just like now you're just kind of going through the home automation story.
Right.
And then they're like,
You're
wow,
driving through the
this is
woods
how
and-
a home automated car would be. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Okay.
This isn't that interesting if I'm being really honest. So I don't know, just my opinion though. Obviously Test Track is still a really fun ride in itself because that's the whole thing is like you're kind of going around and going fast and like it's mysterious and stuff. But otherwise it's like, yeah, we'll definitely go on it. But I do kind of miss the first iteration when you are the test dummy.
Oh, yeah.
I still think that is the best version of the ride.
You go
is
through
when-
all the different
yeah, when
tests.
like when you're the test dummy and they explain how
Well,
they test cars in
I
real
hate
life.
change to begin with, so I always like the first version of everything.
Yeah, it's like I just think that was interesting when you learned how they actually test the cars and they say this is what we put cars through
to test them to find out what they're doing.
to test them before we put them on the road. So yeah, I think that was the most interesting and the most fun as well, especially when you had that little pre-show where like the last test was like the car crashing into the wall and then you finally get there and you're like, oh my God, is this really going to happen? And then the doors open, of course.
Doors open and you
But
get
no,
out.
I just thought that was just more fun in my opinion. So we'll always miss that first iteration of Test Track is all to say. So, but all right. So from there, I want to say too, we saw a lot of art, so much art in the Festival of the Arts. So fun. They will have big signs over the course of all the little shopping things that they have with the art. So you can know which artist that you're shopping at or which studio you're shopping at as well too. Especially in case if you find an art and maybe you change your mind, you can always try to find it online, of course. But also they have the artists who actually painted or drew the art there as well, that you can purchase a piece of art and then get in line and the artist will sign it for you.
Right
and usually they'll give you like a little backstory of like what inspired it, what created it, you know, things like that. So that was really cool. We saw a lot of people buying that art and getting the art signed.
Well,
by
the art
artists.
was all beautiful. I have to say, you didn't go by going, you went by going, oh, wow.
Yeah, so many different types of
impressed.
art, you know, from like modern art to realistic art. It's like just absolutely beautiful. I would say the one thing they don't have as much of is like sculptures. They don't sell a lot of like little mini sculptures or figurines art-wise. But that's the only thing they don't
That was
have.
the
Otherwise,
art venue that they didn't have.
Yeah, otherwise they have from like jewelry to like paintings, drawings, you know, all different types of sketches and stuff. It really spans the array of what you can see for art, except for like mini sculptures, I would say. So, all right. So from there, we headed over to the land. And when we got to the land, we did stop and we had a quick little snack because we were all pretty hungry at this point.
Mostly thirsty.
Yeah, so we were all pretty hungry, but then we got on Living with the Land, which was fun. Now saw the people on Living with the Land, the cast members taking down the lights from the Festival of the Holidays. And when we've been on this ride during Festival of Flower and Garden and for Food and Wine, usually the land kind of gets a little decorated for those festivals. I don't know if they do anything for the Festival of the Arts.
I guess not, because they were still taking down they still had more lights to take down. I was going to say, well,
there's also still like a few more weeks, though, of Festival of the Arts. So I was like, maybe they're still taking it down to put something up. I'm not really sure, or maybe they're just prepping for Festival of the Flower and Garden Festival, rather. So yeah, so I'm not sure, but it was still fun, of course, to go through Living with the Land. And then we headed over to Soarin'. It was funny because a lot of people on our boat for Living with the Land immediately got up and went to go use their lightning lane for Soarin'. So we all did the same. We all did the same thing. We stacked our 2 lightning lanes. So you do them together. We know Soarin', so that was super fun. I'm looking forward to Soarin' Across America. That will premiere later this year.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That will be really fun.
Well, it's always nice. Like I said, I don't really like change, but it's always nice to see something different.
But also, it's just a video to a certain extent. So I know they'll probably always will bring it back and do iterations of Soarin' Across the World and Soarin' Over the World and Soarin' Across America. So that'll be fun. So then we were going to go on the Finding Nemo ride, but the line was so long. The lightning line was so long.
The lightning lane was outside.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So we're like, let's just go to the aquarium. Yes. So that's what we did.
Which is just what I want to see anyway.
Yeah, so we walked in the aquarium, we saw the fish, but what was exciting is that we got to see Tommy and Cinder, who are 2 manatees that are currently there.
They were so cute.
And they were eating their little lunch, and they were so cute. They would go up, they'd get the little heads of lettuce, and then they'd sink down as they're eating the lettuce with the little flippers. It was so cute watching them eat with their little flippers.
I know.
And then they swim back up.
They were very active, which is very unusual, because usually by the time we get there, they're just kind of hanging out at the top of the water, just sleeping at the top of the water. They were active. They came down, they went up, they moved around. They were adorable.
Yeah, they were kind of interacting with each other. And the cast member said as well that, I forget which one is which, but one of them is 5 and one of them is 2. So he said because they are younger, they are a little bit more active. Since it's manatees live for about 60 to 70 years old. So he said their lifespan and their way they develop is similar-ish to humans. So a 2-year-old is still very young, for a manatee's life. So still a little baby. That was really fun to see. But yeah, it was so cute watching them eat their lettuce with their flippers. It's like, I love seeing animals.
And of course,
I
love all the tanks. I love the seahorses. I love all the different tanks.
Yeah.
I love aquariums. And that's really what I want to see. The best part of the ride for me is when we go through the tunnel where the fish are. So that's really all I wanted to see anyway.
For sure. And I feel like this aquarium can be really underrated as well too, because it is kind of in the back corner and Disney doesn't really promote it that much, but it is a gigantic aquarium. Yes. So there is a lot to do.
And they do have a sign out there, like when you're going in the doors, it says the aquarium, outside to tell people that it's an aquarium. But you have the big tank with the sharks and the stingrays and all that going on. And then you've also got, the manatees, and you've got all the other fish in the tanks downstairs. I love it.
So up next, we headed over to Figment. Of course, we had to do Figment during Festival of the Arts. So we went on to Figment, which was fun. And then we did go through all the stores as well too and see all of the new merchandise. Yeah. We didn't actually get any merchandise. I realized that one thing we should have gotten was the pin, the Festival of the Arts pin.
They asked you if you wanted the pin.
I didn't. Well, we didn't walk past the pin, so I didn't think about it. And then when we got home, I was
kept
just
saying
like,
to Amanda, don't you want a pin?
Didn't get it.
Yeah. Don't you want a pin?
That's okay.
Well, if you really wanted it, we could have our friends pick it up.
I know, right? So we did not do the paint by mural, which is something that a lot of people do usually like to do. So that's, you basically wait online, they give you a little thing of paint and a brush, and then everyone basically can contribute to this huge mural.
I wasn't doing that.
Yeah, there's usually like 2 murals going on, and it's really fun because, again, hundreds of people contribute to the mural. Everyone really looks forward to doing it every year, and then they give you a little postcard of what the mural will look like when it's all finished. So we didn't do it, but we did take some video of people doing it. But we decided to go straight to some food. So instead, we headed over to one of the refreshment ports, and this is where you can get the liquid nitrogen cake. But I really wanted the imagination figment cone. So it's basically a purple waffle cone with pink vanilla ice cream, like soft serve ice cream, topped with Nerds candy, and then it has white chocolate wings that kind of look like figment. This was the number one thing I wanted going down, was I really wanted this ice cream cone. And luckily this day, because it had just reached 70 degrees, it was warm enough to have an ice cream cone and not feel silly.
It really wasn't warm enough to have ice cream the other days.
Yeah, but it was very good. Would definitely recommend it though. And I realized last year the ice cream itself was bubblegum flavored, and this year was pink vanilla flavored.
Well, that was funny too.
We definitely like the vanilla, the plain vanilla soft serve.
All I wanted was some ice cream, and I said, "Can I just get the vanilla ice cream in a cup?" And the cast member looked at me. She says, "But it's going to be pink." I said, "I don't care what color it is, as long as it's just vanilla ice cream. I just want a little taste of ice cream." And it was so funny because remember, we walked away. Some guy stopped me and said, "Where did you get that?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh, right over there. You just tell him you want plain ice cream." I mean, you don't realize that, like I said, we've said that about Ghirardelli before, that you could just walk up and ask them, "I just want plain ice cream. Don't put all the stuff on
cup.
it." Yeah.
So we had that, and then we went towards, because we were already kind of on the Canadian side, we went towards the Canada side, and then we kind of sat down, and my dad had a beer, and we watched this squirrel eat a French fry, which was really funny. And then from there, we again just started walking through all the pavilions. And when we got to the France pavilion, we did not have a lighting lane for Memories Ratatouille Adventure, so we did not go on that, and that lighting lane obviously filled up. But what they have during the Festival of the Arts is these big displays with famous paintings where you could step into the painting and take like a photo op with the painting. So the first one we saw was the Luncheon of the Boating Party, which is a very famous painting by a French artist. But I love this painting because this painting is in the musical Amelie the Musical. There's literally the song called The Girl with the Glass. And so I saw this, I was like so shocked because I didn't think this painting would like be in Epcot or like have a little photo up. So it was really fun for me to step into that and get some photos.
And it came out cute too, the picture of you in the painting.
Yeah, it is really cute.
Is cute. We skipped past Canada, the back. Did you do anything about the back of Canada?
Oh yeah, we did walk through the new, because they recently renovated Canada, so the back of Canada is like reopened and all the scaffolding is finally down. That was up for like years, honestly, it feels like.
It was all closed off past the gift shop.
Yeah, but forgot to mention that we did see the updated Canada.
Yeah, it's a cute little place to go sit. Like maybe it's like one of those off the beaten path kind of things that people really don't know about. So if you need to get out of the crowd or out of the sun or out of anything, you can go over there. They actually have a little Disney Vacation Club office right there at what looks like it's supposed to be a hotel. But it was a cute little place.
Yeah, it was. All right, so then going back to France, when we went into France, we went into like where their quick service bakery section is. The line was crazy long. So this is what I mean when I say the lines for a lot of the food were extremely long, but the park itself wasn't that crowded. Right. So like if you wanted to get food or drink, those lines were pretty crazy. Yeah. Even just the line to get some of all the French food lines were all very long.
Yeah, well that's because all the French stuff is usually pretty good.
Well, they also have that bread with the baked brie in it that people really love. So everyone wanted that. Everyone wanted like the little fancy martinis and stuff like that. The frozen, drinks as well that France has. So some of those lines were crazy long, honestly.
The pavilion line for the bakery there was out the door, through the outside, all the way out past the ice cream place, all the way almost as if when you were first walking into that little alley.
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because then when you get to Morocco was kind of empty because Morocco doesn't really have as much like festival stuff going on, so it wasn't as crowded. But they did have a belly dancer performing, so that was really cool to see a belly dancer. All right, so then when we get over to Japan, another crowded pavilion was Japan. Everyone wants that sushi donut, right? The sushi donut is the big thing, and the sake flight as well too is another big thing that we saw a lot of people getting. But we walked through the store, of course, which is really fun. Always a good store to walk through. And then as we continued going, we did pass the American Pavilion where they had another one of those photo ops, which is of Washington crossing the Delaware. We did not get a photo op with this one because they had a photo pass person there, so the line was really long. So we just took a photo.
Two guys got in there. We were watching them. They were really making a thing of it. They really did a good job.
Oh, another thing to mention too. So throughout the pavilions, they have little like it looks like chalk drawings almost on the walls of some of the Disney characters. So Morocco, we saw the one of Abu kind of like on top, and then when we get to Italy, you have the one of Luca. So we saw Luca and Alberto in their thing. So it's kind of like they're splashing water at each other by the water fountain. And then on the bottom there is Machiavelli, which is the cat from Luca, which is so cute. And then also there's like a little purple crab, which I thought was funny as well. So we saw them. And when we got here, at this point, everyone was getting hungry again. So we ended up my dad got the polenta at the Italian, pavilion. Then I got the little fried mozzarella that comes on this little artist palette with 3 different types of dips basically for it. And so I got it. It was very good, I would say. It was, it's basically just like a fried mozzarella stick type of thing. Very good. It's a little hard to cut, I would say. But I would say, would I get it again? Probably not, actually, because I don't really think it's worth $10.
Yeah, a lot of money for that.
Yeah, I feel like my dad's dish was also $10, but he got a lot more food for $10 than like what I got for $10, so to speak. So it's like money-wise, I'm like, this isn't really worth it.
Well, the joke was that they had all those dipping sauces that you didn't even eat. So
well, I did eat them.
All of them?
Yeah, I tried all of them.
Okay.
But the thing is, so you can't finish all of them because you don't have enough mozzarella to finish them.
Right, there's not enough mozzarella, so when you're throwing out the plate, there's still all the dipping sauces.
That, and also the plate was so cute. I kind of almost wanted to keep the plate, but you'd have to like clean it. But yeah, so I didn't keep the plate, obviously, but the plate was really cute. But yeah, but you don't have enough mozzarella for all the dipping sauces is part of the struggle, I would say. But I had all the dipping sauces. They were all very good. There was a pesto, kind of like an Alfredo, and a marinara sauce, all very good. But again, for $10, I think you can get other festival foods, like more food for the price if you're hungry. If you're just looking for a quick snack, then I would say this is a good quick snack. But, otherwise, yeah, they're definitely good still. So over here too, they also had some more photo ops. They had the Screaming painting and they had the Mona Lisa too. So I did both of those. And then when we were in Germany, we also saw Pascal as one of those little chalk arts on the building, which was cute. And as we got closer to China, we saw Mushu and Cricket. It looked like they like blew the hole in the wall type of thing on one of the little fences there. So that was really fun to see. And then we also, at this point, we stopped in China too to get more food because my mom didn't get anything in the Italian pavilion. So we stopped and she got some
Chinese egg rolls.
So we got the egg rolls there. We walked through the store there. There were the cutest little horses for sale because this is going to be the year of the horse is the next one.
They had some cute merch.
Now last year they had really cute little snakes as well for the year of the snake. And let me tell you, in 2032, they better have some cute little rats out there.
2032, oh my God.
Because when we went in 2020, there was nothing for the year of the rat. They had no cute little rats out there. And it's like, and people say like, oh, it was COVID. But that is not true because in 2020, everything would have been manufactured in 2019 before COVID. So there was plenty of time to have rat merchandise.
Stuff, right. Well, I have to say that their merchandise over the last 5 or 6 years has really upped its game.
Yeah.
So let's hope that you get that.
I will say the one thing I did get the Spear jersey, which they did stop after that year.
That's
so they
right.
have not they have not had a Lunar New Year Spear jersey in Disney World since then. Or if they do, it's very, very limited stock because Lunar New Year is more celebrated in Disneyland in California rather than in Disney World since they have the Festival of the Arts. So because of that, it's like, yeah. So
you did get something.
So I do have my Spirit jersey, but I would have liked more rat merchandise for the year of the rat. But alas, we then headed into the Mexico Pavilion and my parents did not want to wait on line for the ride because they were like, no, the line looks too long.
It was long.
And we only waited less than 10 minutes. I think we waited 7 minutes.
The ride line went really, really fast. The line to get into the Cava de Tequila, oh my God, that line was almost out the door. That line
was crazy long and like not moving.
Yes.
So
Yes.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that's just crazy down there.
But we did get to go on one of my favorite rides, which was fun. And then we headed out and then we had dinner reservations that night at Cake Bake. So Cake Bake is along the boardwalk right outside of Epcot through the International Gateway. So we ended up taking a little boat ride over there because at this point we were all pretty tired of just walking. So we took the boat over and then when we got to Cake Bake, none of us had actually eaten in Cake Bake before. We had gone to the bakery just to look in the bakery, but we hadn't eaten in the bakery. First of all, this restaurant is gorgeous. It is so pretty in this restaurant.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
So pretty. Very feminine, I would say. So it's definitely very feminine. I would say when you're in there, very florally, very pink, lots of chandeliers.
Yeah, well, that's why we enjoyed it.
Yeah. So very much like that, which I really enjoyed. And we were kind of joking when we were there that the difference that this place used to be the ESPN bar.
Oh God, what a difference.
Like the full 180 from like the sports bar to like this feminine.
Male to female.
Like definitely like the stereotypes, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, definitely a very cute place. So me and my mom shared the lemon Caesar salad, which was really good.
I have to say it was one of the best Caesar salads I've had in a very long time.
Now they do not give you bread, I would say, but almost all the dishes come with bread.
Yeah.
So you do get bread in a way.
Right.
And it comes with this like soft French baguette.
Yes.
So the Cake Bake is based off French food from New Orleans specifically. So not Paris, France, but New Orleans French. So it's a much different vibe, I would say.
Yes.
Even though the bakery is more Parisian French, the restaurant is New Orleans French. So it has a lot of that gumbo and seafood that you would see in New Orleans or
fried
Louisiana.
Chicken and things like that.
Yep. So, but it's like that upper class though, New Orleans French. So that's why it's like, it's really fancy when you're inside, but then the food again is that more Southern food, Southern comfort type food. So I really like that mix though, because it's very unique. You don't always see a lot of that.
It's also different portions because you expect that even though it's expensive, because it's French, you say, okay, just get ready because they're going to be small. They weren't. They were like double portions. I couldn't believe how much food came out.
Yeah, definitely good. And then my dad got this little avocado stack that had like goat cheese and stuff in it too. And I don't like goat cheese, so I wouldn't have eaten that.
He really enjoyed it.
My mom got the angel hair pomodoro pasta.
I wanted something simple. Yeah.
Yep. So she got that, and I shared it with her, which is also really good. And then I got the soup of the day, the soup du jour, which was a broccoli soup. They just said it was a broccoli soup. It was basically blended broccoli and with like some cheeses and, cheddar and stuff like that and cream. So it was very good though, very light, I would say overall. And then we got the millionaire's cake and the blueberry pie for our dessert. It's funny because when we got this cake, we were like, we're not going to finish this cake.
How are we going to finish that big piece of cake?
We ate the whole cake.
Oh my God, it was so good.
We ate the whole cake.
I'm so glad I didn't finish my pasta because I had room for cake.
Yeah,
it was
the
really
cake
good.
was really good. I have to admit, I've heard some people say the cakes, sometimes they're
some of them
overhyped,
can be dry.
some of them can be dry. I've heard
this
other
one
people
wasn't.
say they love the
it was
cake.
delicious.
Our cake was great, perfect cake, honestly, so good. Definitely, we recommend the millionaire's cake, and the blueberry pie was very good too.
I didn't taste.
At a certain point, I was just too full. I just couldn't keep eating.
Blueberry pie. Daddy carried it out of there.
Yeah, but again, both things were good. I definitely think it's an expensive restaurant, but it's definitely worth the hype. I would say overall.
It was worth the experience. Yeah. I think next time we should go back for breakfast.
Yeah, maybe try something else.
Go have a nice little breakfast in that nice fancy restaurant. But I gotta say, for the money, I didn't think that you walked out of there going, "Oh my God, that was so ridiculous." Where the first time we saw the bakery, I looked at the prices and what they were selling in there.
Well, because it feels silly to be like, I'm going to pay $22 for a slice of cake. It's like, wow, that's crazy.
I mean, their stuffed animals were like $50 a piece. Their tea was like $39 for a box of tea. We were like, are you kidding me? So that kind of like, you say to yourself, okay,
it throws you off for a second because it's even more expensive than like even other Disney items, I would say. But then the restaurant itself is expensive, but it's really along the lines of like a fancy steakhouse or something.
The difference I have to say though is if you're looking to eat light, it's not the place to go.
Yeah, it definitely has heavier
It's got
food.
very heavy food because French food, first of all, is heavy. And second of all, New Orleans French food is heavy. So they had a lot of the croque monsieur and croque madame, which once you can't finish that. Like, it's fried. It's got all the cheese. It's got all the stuff in it. It's
heavy stuff.
It's very, very heavy. And they do give, and then everything you get a bread with this really good whipped butter with it. By the time you're finished, you're like, oh my God, this is a lot of food. Even the salad we had was too big for one person. I mean, if we hadn't been sharing that, nobody could finish that salad and then have a full meal. So I think that because you look at that and say, oh my God, for the money, it really was worth it. Where the bakery, like I said, you walk in there and...
That's a good point too, because it's like people tend to, like my mom always says, like usually when you look at restaurants that have really high like, ratings, star ratings, it's because they have big portions and people just like when you get big portions, even if you're paying a lot of money, if the portions
and it's
really
not
big,
so much I wanted overstuffed
like
portions.
Yeah.
You just don't want to go to one of those restaurants where you walk out hungry.
Yeah.
And you paid $50 for dinner for each person and you walk out of there going, okay, where are we going for dessert or something else? Because, we didn't get that much food.
For sure.
And it's not that I couldn't even finish my pasta. It was too much.
Yeah.
So you don't need that much. But New Orleans and French combined is heavy food. So that's why I went for the pasta pomodoro, because everything else on that menu had cream, it had cheese, it had all the stuff on it.
And also because it was chilly that night, I know you were saying you wanted something warm, because I think one of the dishes you were looking at would have been a little colder.
Yes, it was a cold dish. And I'm like,
you're
no,
like,
I don't think so.
Warm.
I was
and like, that's kind of why I was like, I'm going to get the soup, because I would like something warm. So.
Yes, but it was very good.
Yeah.
Hint is, everybody told me that the pasta was very, very spicy. Be careful. I actually had to ask for pepper.
Yeah, it's funny. My soup had a slight kick to it, but it wasn't like I couldn't eat it.
I'm pretty was
sensitive
not spicy at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sensitive to spice. Like I usually say like no spice or very mild spice, but it was it was nothing too crazy. I would say.
No, very good.
But we definitely would recommend Cake Bake at least once just to try.
Yes, to see it, to try it, to go sit. There were a lot of people in there celebrating special occasions.
Yeah, like
you could tell.
birthdays and stuff.
A lot of locals like in there dressed up with little kids that were all dressed up for their birthdays and stuff. So it is one of those restaurants that even locals are coming in to celebrate their special occasions.
For sure. But all right, so after we did Cake Bake, we headed back into the park. Now we were debating if we were going to stay for Harmonious. So Harmonious would have been, I think, at 9:00 that night. But as we were going through, we were like, you know what? We don't have to stay. We can leave. So we sauntered very slowly out of the park. We saw a lot of the chalk art, which was really cool. I love the chalk art. It's like, I wish we could have seen it during the day. I realized because just by the time we got there, it was just nighttime. But the chalk art is one of the coolest things. Now, if it does rain or know anything of the weather or anything and they go away, the artist will just come back and redraw the chalk art. Yeah. So even if you go no matter when, there's going to be chalk art to be seen. Right. Do not worry about that. We went through a few more of the booths just to see some more art and everything, and then we headed out of the park. Then as we were heading out, we actually ended up making it back to our our hotel at Bay Lake and Contemporary just in time for Happily Ever After to start. So we literally ended up watching the Happily Ever After fireworks from the little balcony from between the Contemporary and Bay Lake, which was really fun. So that was kind of unexpected and unplanned, but kind of worked out in our favor there. So, but all right, so the next day we went to, well, first we went to the Grand Floridian Cafe for breakfast, which is one of our favorites to go for breakfast. It was fun because we hadn't seen the new bar, the Perch, that's in the lobby now.
Yeah,
so
very pretty.
It does look really cool, I would say. And then from there we headed over, well, for breakfast, what did we get? I got the grand breakfast, which is like eggs. It had the little potato hash browns, which are very good. And you got
I got the avocado toast with salmon.
Salmon, yeah. It had a lot of salmon on it.
Yeah, a lot of salmon. It was a little bit more salmon than I even needed, but I got to tell you, it was delicious.
It was very good. I think my dad got the same thing I did.
Yeah, he got the same
So
breakfast.
very good though. Definitely always recommend that place. So yes, and then we headed into Magic Kingdom. It was very cloudy this day, so we knew the weather was going to be tough.
Yeah.
We'll get to it when we get to it. But I'm looking at my photos and it was cloudy. Look at all those clouds above the
Let's
castle.
also say that we had to carry extra jackets, umbrellas, extra stuff, rain jackets. We were carrying a lot of stuff this trip.
we
Usually I
definitely
just
were.
carry a little pouch. This trip I was carrying a backpack.
Yep. So first we went to Pirates of the Caribbean, which is always a fan favorite for all of us. So it was really fun. And it was funny when we got off Pirates of the Caribbean, you have to go up that ramp to get off the ride. Jack Sparrow was right there. He was
Standing
kind
there.
of like spooking people like for fun. But it was fun when we saw him because I just wasn't expecting that. I hadn't seen him there in a long time. So it was kind of exciting to see him. So from there, then we went to the Enchanted Tiki Room. Again, another favorite as well too. Definitely stick around for next week where we talk more about the Enchanted Tiki Room.
As usual.
So after that, we headed over to Peter Pan's Flight. So I decided to use our Tier 1 Lightning Lane for Peter Pan's Flight. Rather than the last 2 times we've gone, I had used it for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now let me tell you, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, because it was so cold.
Oh, God.
Like, no wait the whole day.
Yes,
you could get a Lightning Lane any time of the day for that ride.
You want to go in there in 40-degree weather, go right
so
ahead.
no wait, but we decided to do Peter Pan's Flight. We hadn't been on it in a few years, and I love that ride.
Yeah, you forget how really nice that ride is.
It is such a classic like Disney ride,
Yes.
right? It's like if you're thinking Disney rides, it's like Peter Pan's Flight, even Pirates of the Caribbean, but like Peter Pan's Flight is that's the Fantasyland ride, right? It is so good. I love that ride so much. So from there, we had some time before our next Lightning Lane. We went over to PhilharMagic, which again, I do love that show a lot too. PhilharMagic is one of my favorites. And then there was no line. I kid you not a single person online for the carousel. So my mom at this time, she was texting with the cat sitter back at home. So she was kind of distracted. So I was like, well, I'm going to go on the carousel.
I said, there's no line, go on it.
Yeah, so I went on the carousel, which was fun. I hadn't been on the carousel since Disneyland Paris when I went on the carousel. Okay. So it is fun when you go on the carousel. Now it is funny when you're just by yourself and you're going on a carousel because all these people
us,
around
it was
you are
like when you were like 3 years old. You know, there you are in the carousel going around and I'm taking pictures.
Yeah.
You know, this 29-year-old woman on a carousel waving at me. You know?
I know, right? But it's funny. It's like, because I've only been horseback riding a few times in my entire life. But I remember one of the times when we went, my mom had said she had gone in the past, but she hadn't gone in many years. So she said, you forget how high up you are when you're on a horse. The horses are very tall animals. So when you're riding on a horse, you're very high up. It's the same thing on a carousel too. When you have to lift yourself up onto that horse, you're very high up in the air. The way most carousels work, at least, the horses on the edges are the biggest horses. And as you go toward the middle, they get smaller, like for children. So yeah, I always like to pick an end horse because you get to see more, when you're on the horse. But when you're on that horse, you're pretty high up there. And it's like, oh wow, you got to really hold on to that pole because the little strap is really only for kids. I actually try to put the strap around me. It's too small for an adult. I didn't know that. I just automatically was like, I'm just used to strapping in when you're on a ride. But yeah, the strap was too small for a grown adult. It's only meant for children. So I was like, well, I didn't know that though. So I'm like, well, now you're just sitting on a horse. And it's like, if I fell for whatever reason, like you would just be falling off a very tall, metal horse basically. But y'all have to say, just make sure you hold on tight. So, all right. So from there, we headed over to Haunted Mansion. So we went on Haunted Mansion, which is always a fun classic as well too. And when we got off Haunted Mansion, this is when the rain started. So we got off and the rain started. So all the jackets came out, which in a way is nice because then you're taking the jacket out of the bag. So then it's like, all right, now the bag is lighter, but now it's raining and windy.
Right. Now you're running through the rain.
So now it's like, which would you rather have, a heavy bag or, it's like the rain and
It's really good that we had jackets that fit on top of jackets that fit on top of jackets.
So from there, our next Lightning Lane was then going to be over in Tomorrowland. So I was like, all right, so we kind of ran from Haunted Mansion over to the Carousel of Progress. Now it's funny because just, right before Haunted Mansion, Fantasyland was crowded. Now, not a single person.
Run right through.
The rain and wind was so strong. Like we were just like trying to hustle as quickly as we could.
Everybody went undercover.
Yeah, but everyone was trying to stand undercover, standing inside, some of the quick service restaurants and stuff. We finally got to Carousel of Progress, got in. Again, now we're all soaking wet too. So now we're sitting in these seats soaking wet. You're like, wow, and it's still kind of cold because now you're sitting in your soaking wet jacket in the cold. And then in my head, I'm like, well, because it didn't say it was going to rain for that long that day. So that was one of the things we were saying. It's like, well, a Carousel of Progress is like a 20
It was
show.
very windy, so they said, and that's what they helped us, because even though we were running through windy rain, that rain moved out pretty quickly because of the wind.
Yeah, so they said that. So I was hoping when we got off Carousel of Progress, it'd be better.
But no luck.
But if anything, it was worse.
Right, no
it
luck.
was worse. So we left my mom in the gift shop so me and my dad could go do Tron. But when we were walking up that hill to Tron, I was like, this is rough. I was like, this is pretty
the
rough.
wind, because the wind, you couldn't get away from it.
Yeah, the wind was so strong. The rain was like the sideways rain. Me and my dad are hustling up this hill to get up to Tron. I'm like, this is wild beans, right? When we got off Tron, it's again still pretty. I feel like the wind died down a little bit at that point, but
I
the
could
rain
tell by
was still
people
pretty
coming in and out
heavy.
of the gift shop started to empty out.
Yeah, so by the time I got back to my mom, when we started heading back over to Fantasyland for our light lane for It's a Small World, again, the rain has started to let up a lot more, which was nice, and the wind was starting to let up a little bit more, but it was still cold because, again, even though it was raining and windy, it's not the summer, so it's like now you're soaking wet and it's still cold. So it's like, okay, there's only so much you can do.
Cranky, because I was like, I went from the cold to the cold to go home to the cold.
I know. So now here's where our big excitement for the entire trip happened when we got on
For
It's a Small
Amanda's
World.
big excitement.
So a lot of people know, all of my friends who are on my bachelorette know, my dream always, I've been going to Disney my whole life for 29 years, and my dream has always been to be escorted off a ride, like to have like a ride get stuck and you have to be escorted off a ride, which is crazy that we've been going so many times.
She needs to be evacuated.
Statistically, you would have thought we would have been evacuated once
for
from a
all the
ride,
rides we've
but
been
it never
on.
happened.
Yes.
But it finally happened on It's a Small World. So we get on It's a Small World, and as we start to go through the ride, they make announcements saying that the ride is being temporarily stopped. Like if your boat comes to stop or whatever, it's fine. But it's a water ride, so our boat is still kind of chugging along, right?
Just
so we're like,
floating
okay,
along.
so we're floating along. So we basically get to the second to final room, which is kind of like the Polynesian room. So we're in that room, and that's when we finally catch up with all the other boats that are, just kind of stopped. So we're sitting there, and then we're sitting there for a long time. And then eventually the announcement changes from, please just stay seated to a cast member will come and assist you soon. And we're like, oh, that's new.
Yes,
Like,
okay, we're getting evacuated.
I was like, that's not what we were
And
expecting
I said,
to
this
hear.
is why I hate boats.
I know. So basically what happened is that as we were sitting there, eventually they did turn the music off eventually, which in a way is kind of creepy because then all the dolls and the characters are still moving around.
They're
just
still
to
moving,
silence.
just no music. Yes.
And I would say the rooms were pretty bright to begin with, but they did turn on some other lights, so it was a little bit more brighter. Yeah. And then when we were sitting, a cast member came kind of along the side of us and she said, hello. She was like, we're gonna move all the boats basically to help get everyone
cast
off.
member and waiters.
Yep, so
in
a cast
water.
member waiters
Right.
would come in the water, and they basically had one cast member with a pole that would push the boat, and then the other cast member in the water helped pull the boat as well
they had
too
a pole
in the
that
water.
pulled the boat backwards.
So we basically realized that we were all the boats that were all backed up were all being pushed to different emergency exit routes, basically, so that way they didn't overcrowd one emergency exit route. So even though we were next to one of the emergency exit routes, we actually got pushed all the way back to right before the Africa one, and that is actually where we got off, is between the Africa and kind of like the Latin America type one. So between those two.
Yeah.
So when we were there, they would have a cast member, or when you got there, they would have a cast member basically two cast members on either side of the boat, and then a cast member actually helping to get us off. Now, when you actually get on all of these like Pirates of the Caribbean, It's a Small World, any water-based ride, when you actually get onto the ride is actually in water. It's on like these chains that's above water. So you think you're in water, but you're not. So everyone can just get on and off at the same time. Now, when we were disembarking, the cast member said, you were on real water. You're on floating water. She was like, so because of that, everyone can't just get up at the same time. So instead, you have to keep the weight balance in the boat the same, or else the boat could tip. So instead, we were actually the last row of our boat. So she said the first row and the last row are going to go first, and then the next two and the next two until you get to the middle. So that way the boat doesn't tip and it stays steady. Now, again, the cast members are also holding the boat as this is happening. So, and then again, it was a little like when you stand up in that boat in moving water, it does wobble you a little bit. I did have to take the cast member's hand that she offered it to me so I could step up.
Yes, you had to, because it was very rickety.
Yeah, just because it's like you're not used to it.
We also had an added thing that the person in front of us was freaking out. And I thought she was freaking out because she had to get off the boat. Mm-hmm. She wasn't freaking out for that. She was freaking out because they had reservations at Cinderella's castle, and she thought she was going to miss them. Because this took, what, half hour?
It took 30
minutes?
From the time our boat came to a stop to by the time we actually got out, it was 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Which is pretty long, honestly.
And I told her, I said, relax, this is Disney. You're going to go over there and tell them you were stuck on here, and they're not going to give you a reservation away. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so as we were getting off, then we were kind of escorted up these stairs. And when you get up the stairs, you get to see like behind the scenes, right? Which is fun. So first we saw that we exited the ride through emergency exit C. So that was our route that we took, was through the C route. And then there was another cast member who greeted you. And then because they decided to do two boats at one time. I don't know why, but they decided to do two boats at one time.
they were taking too much
So
time.
they had us move further into like the backstage area, which was fun. So then we saw like the full backstage area, right? Where like they store the boats, like all the wood and everything, like some dolls were being like worked on and everything in the back. So we stood back there for a while too. And then finally, when we actually got the go ahead, we were then kind of led out behind It's a Small World. We went back through where the Tangled bathrooms are. So we kind of re-entered right next to It's a Small World, between It's a Small World and the Tangled bathrooms. And when we got out there, they did say to have your passes or your magic bands ready, because everyone who was on the ride, of course, got a lightning lane for the day. So this lightning lane could be used at any time of the day. There's no restrictions for time, and it could be used on all of the tier 2 rides, basically. Right. So the pay per attraction rides, so like Tron and Seven Doors Mine Train, were not included in any of the tier 1 rides. So that would have been Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan's Flight, Space Mountain, and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So those also were not included as well. But any of the other rides were included. And again, you didn't have to pick the ride like normally. Like you have to go in and pick your time. You don't pick the time; it would work on any of the rides, basically. And then they also had little bottles of water for everyone too, like a half bottle of water. Again, we were only stuck for 30 minutes, but again, we still took our little bottle of water.
We weren't dying. Nice. We were just, it was just a pain in them.
Well, it was funny because there were some people who were like, "Where's the nearest bathroom when we get off? We have to go to the bathroom." They're like, "You're actually going to be let out right next to the bathroom."
Right at the bathroom.
So when you get out, it's like you just make a right.
I'm sure there were people who made a bigger deal about it than it was. It was just, Amanda was having a ball.
Yeah, it was honestly quite thrilling. When I saw those people in the water, I was just like, "Oh my God, this person's in the water." I took videos of like the little penguins dancing to nothing, right? It was quite
that
quite
girl
exciting.
was funny because she says, "I just came on shift." Yeah. They put me in waiters.
I know, right? But so I will say too, I filmed some of it. I'm not going to show any of the film though publicly, just because they did say no
put
phones.
Your phones away.
I actually have a video of me turning to the guy and him pointing at me saying, "Please put your phone away." So it's kind of funny. But I would say, I think it was the other guy who was next to us, because he had his arm like in the air with his phone filming. I always like filming very discreetly, in my opinion. So I think they saw him filming and then they saw me filming is the thing.
They just don't want people to see that.
Well, I think also, God forbid if someone, like, because people were getting off the boat when I was filming at that point, God forbid someone fell off the boat by accident. I'm sure they don't want that on film. Right. So it's like, it's fair, and I totally get it.
They did ask everybody to put their phones
so I did take some photos and film, but I'm actually not going to share.
I'm sure there were people that were still filming.
Yeah, but it was very thrilling though to be escorted off, right? Especially It's a Small World.
She was just
right
so
by
happy.
My favorite little piggy bank too. In the Latin America portion, there's this little piggy bank that's there, and I always point out to be like, I love the little piggy bank. It's so cute, and that's where we got escorted off. Was right by that piggy bank. Shannon was just like, that has to be fate. That's so funny. Right. So anyway, so as we were on the ride, finally we got escorted off. Again, I took it. Just seeing the ride and all the empty boats was just really exciting. But of course, that always works up an appetite. So then we got a Mickey pretzel to calm the nerves, right? So then I had my Mickey pretzel and made my dad wait so I could take photos with my pretzel before he could take a bite. And then we went on the Little Mermaid ride. Now it's funny because when we got on this ride, we only stopped once for about maybe 10 seconds. But when we stopped, my mom was like, "Are we going to be escorted off again?"
Not again.
And I was just like, "No, I think this is just for a few seconds." And it was. We just went through the ride as normal.
Well, that's the deal. When they say, "Please stay seated, your ride will be moving shortly," you're okay. When they say, "Please stay seated," a cast member's coming to help you. Get ready. Just settle in.
We're like, all right, this is
just settle in until they get there.
But all right, so then up next from there, we headed over. All right, so we decided to use our lightning lane for the Winnie the Pooh ride, because throughout the day,
it is also a very cute ride.
It is very cute. Throughout the day, that ride filled up a lot faster than I was expecting it to fill up for a tier 2 ride. So yeah, we were like, well, we had the lightning lane, let's just go on Winnie the Pooh. So we did. So we went on the Winnie the Pooh ride. So that was always really fun. I do love that ride as well too, and especially because we also went on International Winnie the Pooh Day, so that just happened to be.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So from there, we headed back over to Space Mountain, and me and my dad did Space Mountain, which was also very fun. And then we went on the People Mover. At this point, the sun had finally come back out.
Oh yeah, the sun came back out.
So it took hours, but the sun finally came out. However, it was still cold. So even though the sun was out, we were still kind of shivering a little booties, right? So also the People Mover stopped too, which was really funny.
Yes.
The People Mover stopped and the lights came on, and my mom had the same thing.
We were inside.
She's like, we're gonna be stranded again, but we didn't. The ride continued moving as well. All right, so from there, that was actually our last ride of the day. From there, we just kind of walked through all the shops, which was really fun. We went through all like kind of like the more expensive stores with all the fun glass and everything. And then we had dinner at Tony's Town Square, which is actually one of my favorite restaurants now in Magic Kingdom, because I love that garlic bread. That garlic bread that they have is so good. Like whoever crafted that garlic bread and the Parmesan sauce did top tier, right? Like that is what we need in our lives, is that garlic bread. So good. And then I also got the pasta as well there too. I think you also got the pasta.
I got the pasta too, which I really didn't want to keep eating all these carbs, but the pasta was very, very good.
It was so good. Honestly, it's a very good restaurant, honestly. And we didn't even plan this, but we timed it where as soon as we came out of the restaurant, the Starlight Parade started.
Yes, and it was coming from right over by the firehouse.
Yeah, so it starts at the top of Main Street and goes down, whereas
as opposed to the
Festival
other
of Fantasy starts kind of in Frontierland and comes
we
up.
expected to be standing there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so we got out and the parade started instantly. And let me say, this parade was amazing. It was so cool, so beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's like we haven't seen a nighttime parade in years, but they did.
And it was just long enough. Like it wasn't so long that you're standing there going, okay, now I got to start moving, kind of thing. It was just perfect.
But the floats were so beautiful, though. Like all the lights on them were so bright, so sparkly. Right. It's like all the costumes and everything.
I give those people credit because they were standing up really high on those floats.
Yeah, and
it was freezing cold, and their arms were out.
I know, right?
I don't know how they do that.
Like we were cold too, standing.
I'm sure under those costumes they're covered up, but those arms, like what's her name, Sleeping Beauty, her arms were just out, and I'm like, isn't she freezing?
But again, it's like I give props to the actors moving around them, but so beautiful. I would definitely recommend seeing this parade. One of the best parades, honestly, I've seen in a really long time. So I definitely am looking forward to seeing that again. And then after that parade, actually, or before when we were doing our shopping, I'd actually just gotten the Starlight Rice Krispie treat just because I like the colors, and I was like, that's great because now I love the parade too. So I had that, and then of course we watched Happily Ever After on Main Street before heading back to the hotel. Now the next day, on our final day, we did Animal Kingdom. This was fun because we hadn't done Animal Kingdom in a while at this point. I think I had gone my bachelorette, but before that, because my mom got sick, we ended up not going, and then the time before that we hadn't gone because we did Hollywood Studios instead. So it was fun to go back to Animal Kingdom. It was funny, our friends had said like be prepared because where Dino Land was versus where the Central Americas is coming next, it's like all blocked off because construction.
You have to walk around it.
Yeah, construction's in full swing, so it was kind of wild. But we did start our day off with Dinosaur. As of recording this, Dinosaur will be closed when this podcast comes out. But the waits for Dinosaur have been like 2 hours recently because everyone's trying to get a Dinosaur.
Even our Lightning Lane went pretty quickly.
Yes, we got on with Lightning Lane, but we did get on Dinosaur. It's funny because when I went for my bachelorette last year in May, I thought that was going to be my final time on Dinosaur because I thought it would have closed by then. So having one final time was pretty fun.
It was fun to see it one last time.
Yeah, I didn't even film it. I just enjoyed it for what it was. What's funny is that the other day that ride broke down and people got escorted off that ride, which was cool. And they said it was cool to see all the dinosaurs like with the lights on. But that was fun as well. So anyway, so I am looking forward to the Indiana Jones ride, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to the change
I think it'll be
everything.
just as much fun.
Yeah, but just to say, I did love the dinosaur ride too, though. So all right, so from there we headed over to Pandora and we went on the Navi River journey, which is always a really fun, quaint ride, I would say. We did get to see the shaman.
And that's if
dancing.
You want to just relax. You gotta just get in there and just relax.
And then from there, of course, we did Flight of Passage, one of our other favorites as well too. I didn't film it all on Flight of Passage, I realized, but yeah, no film on Flight of Passage. We went on Flight of Passage, so that was fun. It's funny because some of the chairs on Flight of Passage, like some of the Banshees, were broken, and so the cast member was trying to put people together, and so she kind of had 2 in 1, and she was like, oh, maybe I could find a couple to do the 2, but we were like, we don't all have to sit next to each other.
Right, we don't have to sit next to each other.
We don't have to sit next to each other. It's fine. There can be a space between us. So she's like, all right, if you're sure on that, like, then, makes the math easier of them trying to place us all. So, but all right. So from there, then we headed over to Kilimanjaro Safari. Now the line for this was long for the Lightning Lane, meaning the animals are probably blocking the way. And it's funny because when we got onto the line, we had to watch like 3 trucks go past us before it was our truck. I have like videos of multiple trucks going past us before it was our truck. But it was fun. It was definitely a great safari. We saw a lot of animals up close. The zebras were very up close. This one,
everything.
The giraffes were
it was
up
cold
close.
out, so the animals were not like hiding from the sun. They were out there.
Yeah, they're all eating in the sun, I would say, for sure. Some of the elephants too were out, which was really fun. So again, definitely a great safari as well. And then from there, we decided we had to get breakfast because it was pretty early still in the morning. So my parents stopped at Kusafari to get breakfast. So they got me a Mickey-shaped cinnamon roll. And then what did you get?
I got some croissant that had pistachio.
The pistachio croissant.
Pistachio crumble and stuff on it. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It was okay. And Daddy got the cinnamon roll like you.
Yeah.
So we ate ours because she had gone on Everest. So we were going to have to walk. So we had to walk with
so I walked over to Everest and I did have the Lightning Lane for it. Because initially my mom was like, well, you could always do single rider. Everest had a crazy long line. It was funny because like out of the 3 parks, Animal Kingdom felt the most crowded out of all of the parks.
It was, which I was surprised at.
Yeah, like
and it was the coldest.
Yeah, the lines for everything felt very long that day. Everest was like, it's, where you enter the line under kind of the little building. It was like 3 rows out of like the regular ropes before you even got
I thought Animal Kingdom was very crowded.
The single rider was up to the gift shop. Like that was how long single rider was. So I was like, well, it's a good thing I guess I have Lightning Lane. So that way my parents aren't waiting forever.
I gotta tell you, Lightning Lane was worth every penny on this weekend.
Yeah, so I did Lightning Lane for that. But then what's funny is that as I was walking back towards my parents, initially I said I would come back to them, but my mama says like, no, we'll come meet you. So when I was walking back, there were I know they're not monkeys and they're not chimpanzees, but they're another type of primate, but I do not remember the exact type of animal they are. But they were out. They kind of look like the chimpanzee type animal though, in their little structure. And one of them had his arms up, he was hanging. The other one was picking stuff out of his armpit, and everyone was taking videos and photos of this. So it was like it was very thrilling to see him picking little bugs out of his armpit. So I stopped too to take the video of him picking the bugs out of his armpit. But because of that, me and my dad just passed each other. Like it was so crowded, I didn't even see my father walking past. Right, and now I do think we we passed each other when I was distracted looking at,
the
animals. But again, we passed each other, didn't even see each other. Because then when I got closer and I saw my mom, Bayaki Yeti, I was just like, what are you doing here? And she was like, did you not see your dad holding your cinnamon roll?
Because I was coming out of the bathroom, so it's a good thing that I happened to come out at that.
She was
would have
holding,
passed me too.
Yeah, holding your cinnamon roll. So once I got to my mom, I called my dad. Well, real quick. So I called my dad, but he had already been looking up Find My Friends to see where I was, and he was already turning around and realizing we passed each other.
Okay. So the moral of the story is when we tell you to wait for us someplace, just wait for us over there.
Well, I said I was gonna come back though. But the whole thing my mom said too is like the reason why your dad has the cinnamon roll is because I was holding the cinnamon roll, and he said I was gonna drop the cinnamon roll, and I was just like, I'm not gonna drop the cinnamon roll. Right. But he insisted.
So I said, okay, so you want to carry it? Here, go find her. And I went in the bathroom.
So it's so funny them just holding the cinnamon roll throughout the whole park just so I could have it.
Oh,
but
God.
it was very good. I will say it was a pretty good cinnamon roll.
I tasted Daddy's. It was very good.
It was good. It's very cinnamony. It had kind of
very big.
Like, it's pretty big, still like the whole thing, but it has like the white frosting, and it also had kind of like a caramel frosting too on top, very light.
Well, the funny thing about that is, just so you know, when we first were going on the safari, we stopped to look at the menu to say, okay, when you're going to go to Everest, we'll get you breakfast. We looked at the menu. It was out there on the thing, and it said cinnamon roll, this, and this. When we got off and we got online, you get up there, that menu changes. They take that board away, and they put this other little cardboard board up that has food on it.
Oh, maybe it's like the lunch board. Yeah, they switched
and
it.
I said to them, wait a minute, what happened to you want that? And then there's a little tiny little placard by where they take the money that tells you how much they are. If I hadn't asked, we would have said, we can't get the cinnamon roll. So just be aware of that. Yeah, they probably
switched over from like breakfast to lunch.
Even though they switch over, they still have the cinnamon roll and the croissants and stuff.
But yeah, it was very good. So I definitely recommend it. I never actually had the Mickey-shaped cinnamon roll from here. I've only ever had the Gaston's Tavern one.
Oh, okay.
And again, I'm not like a huge cinnamon roll person in general.
That's a different type of cinnamon roll.
Yeah, they're very different types.
This one's not as high.
Yeah, it's more flat.
More like low, which I thought had more flavor because it had more cinnamon swirled through it as the Gaston's.
Well, because this one it was like a tighter swirl.
Yes, a tighter swirl with the cinnamon.
The dough is more fluffier, so that's more of a fluffy cinnamon roll. Where this one's like a tighter swirl, I would say. Yeah. But very good though, honestly. Again, I'm not even a big cinnamon roll person, like a general sense.
No, but it was good for cinnamon roll. Daddy loves cinnamon rolls.
So then when we got the cinnamon roll, I planned to eat it online for the Zootopia show, which is the new show in the Tree of Life. And so I did technically get a lightning lane for it, but it wasn't until the afternoon, and we knew we were only kind of going to do a half day in this park.
Yeah, so we
got online for Zootopia, just the regular line, but it moves fast because it's a show.
We got in the show.
Huge theater, right? So it's a big show. And I'll say for some shows, so for instance, the Festival of the Lion King, when you do your lightning lane for Festival of the Lion King, they say to get to the show early because you get good seating, right?
As you get in the front.
You get better seating. Same thing for the bird show as well too. They give you better seating for that show. For this show, you just mix with the regular people and then you just go in. So I was like, all right, I would definitely not suggest lightning lane for the show unless there was some crazy long wait for it or something.
Unless it's ridiculously long and you have to wait.
But
for
otherwise,
2 or 3
you don't get good seating for lightning lane, so that it doesn't affect your seating the way it does for some of the other shows. So anyway, so we go in again, very cute the way it's leading up. Basically, the premise of it is that we are celebrating the Zoo Together Day. So kind of again how like all the predators and the prey came together. The mammals specifically came together as friends and created Zootopia. And the show itself, it does like a short little mystery. It's just like someone's trying to destroy Zoo Together Day. What's going on? So they do have the big Clawhauser animatronic, which was really cool to see. He is a really fun character. I'm always a big fan of when Disney has a cat animal in a positive light, because often Disney likes to have cat animals
sneaky.
in negative lights. Right. So we'll always stand by a big fun leopard, right? So and then the general premise is that Judy and Nick, they're trying to solve like who's trying to ruin Together Day, and they go through the little mystery together. So it's very fun, very lighthearted. I would say overall, I would say if you're a really big Zootopia fan, definitely worth seeing. I would say if you're really indifferent towards Zootopia, maybe worth seeing once, but then I honestly probably wouldn't do it again.
I don't know if I'd stand online again for that. Like
I don't.
line.
Yeah, same here.
If it was just a walk on, I'd say okay.
Yeah, same. I think I'd definitely do as a walk on.
I think kids would love it though. I got to tell you, it's a kids show.
Yeah, definitely a kids show. Definitely geared towards kids. Again, I mean, like Zootopia 2 is the highest grossing film for Disney, for animated film for Disney now.
I
so
like
obviously
Zootopia, but I'm not a big Zootopia fan. So I thought it was entertaining, but adult. I would not go stand online by myself
and I feel
to watch it.
I feel like too. What I think, there are a lot of good shows in Animal Kingdom, and I feel like I would pick the Festival of the Lion King or the Nemo show as well with the puppets and that one. Right. I would pick one of those shows over this one personally, or even like the bird show. Like I would pick one of those over this one personally. But I think if you're a big Zootopia fan and you have a Zootopia family member, definitely worth seeing for that, because it is really fun for like the Zootopia vibes. So so from there, then we started to head out, and then we went back to the Contemporary Resort. We got some more food. My parents got this like Italian sandwich at Contempo Cafe.
Yeah, it was an Italian hero that we shared, because I looked and looked and looked, and that was the only thing that looked appetizing. But I got to tell you, it was really good.
Yeah. And my mom, my mom is a natural chef. I'm not a natural chef, but she knew to let's take the bread off and let's toast the bread and let's spread the mayo on it.
Yes, I fixed the sandwich up.
Yeah, she kind of changed a little bit and then, had a little bag of chips.
Yeah, before
also,
you put the dressing on it.
And it came with a bag of chips too.
Yes, it came with a bag of chips.
Yeah,
because it was funny when Daddy bought it. He had a bag of chips, and I said, I'm surprised he bought that bag of chips because he doesn't.
Yeah, my
eat
dad's
chips.
usually not a chip person.
No, I'm the chip person, and I don't buy them because I don't want to eat them. So so I was shocked. But she says, Amanda told me, she says, no, it comes with it.
Yeah, it says on the thing sandwich.
And considering,
I
think the sandwich was $13.99 or something, but it was a decent size. It fed the both of us. It was a decent. But yeah, you put your own dressing on it. So like I said, I doctored it up before we ate it.
So from here, then we had a few hours just kind of to relax and start to pack a little bit because our flights leaving the next morning was very early. We had 6 a.m. flights.
6 a.m. flight.
Because I'm pretty strapped for PTO right now at my day job. So I was literally flying home and then working a full day when I got home. So we all had very early flights. So we kind of just relaxed. We packed and then we went back out to Disney Springs to meet some other family friends as well at the House of Blues. We hadn't eaten at House of Blues in years. It'd been quite some time since we had House of Blues. And it's funny, when we got there, our friends even asked us oh, what's your go-to since you guys usually have favorites? And I was like, honestly, we haven't been here in so long. I don't really have a go-to. I'm just going to get the Impossible Burger, which is what I got. Very good, honestly. Pretty good burger.
I got the chicken sandwich without the bread.
Yeah.
It was very good. There's French fries that came with it were good.
Nothing
I don't think it was over the top. I think it was mediocre. Okay. I wouldn't walk out of there saying, oh my God, you have to go to the House of Blues for what we ate.
Yeah.
We had the little beignets.
I was going to say, but
dessert.
we did get their beignets. They added that to the menu since we've been there. They probably need the beignets.
Those
are
were good.
The hit item, right?
Taste of beignets.
So we got the beignets. They were good. We shared those. I would say not as good as the Mickey shaped beignets, but still very good overall. And then, then we just headed back to the hotel pretty early. I did watch some of Happily Ever After from the bed. And then the next morning we were up at 6 a.m. and we were on that flight home. So that was the overall trip.
We were up at 3 a.m. I was up at 3:30 a.m.
Oh, well, yeah. We were all up at 3 a.m.
We were at the airport by 4:30 a.m. to get on the flights. So, but thank God all our flights, a little bit of a delay for you, but not much for, nothing for us. We went in, came out. Nobody got sick on vacation, which I'm
also
always
saying
happy
we jam packed a lot in the 3 days that we were there. So it was definitely very fun. Our next trip now isn't until December and it's going to be the same time frame type of thing. So it's the
we're just going to
quick
stagger it a little bit more because people like me cannot walk 12 hours a day, 3 days in a row.
I know Epcot and Magic Kingdom were some long days. It was really park open to park closed.
It took 3 days
for
my ankles to unswell.
Yes.
Well, between the food that I normally don't eat and the fact that we were on our feet all day long. I'll never forget it. The first time I ever went to Disney World, I remember that we spent the whole day, 12 hours on our feet. And I was young at the time. I was in my 20s. And I remember trying to get out of bed the next morning. We got up the next morning and I went to go put my feet on the floor and I almost fell down because my feet were not used to being on my, walking for 12 hours a day. So we have to stagger when we go down in December.
All right. But so normally we would cover a little bit of Disney news, but as this podcast episode is already quite long, I'm actually going to save all of our Disney news for next episode. So I think that would be okay. But again, overall, a really great trip that we had.
It was great.
Let us know, are you going to the Festival of the Arts? Are you going to Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom anytime soon? Are there any things that we did not have on our must-do list? So you're like, I can't believe you didn't do this or that, or you should try this other food when you go there. Again, I actually really love Festival of the Arts, honestly. I feel like it's a very underrated festival because some of the other ones always get more talked about.
Well, because the other ones have the concert series and this and that and the other thing.
And I will say, Flower and Garden will always be my favorite because I love the topiary so much, for instance. But again, Festival of the Arts is really fun, and I do really like Festival of the Arts a lot, especially if you're a Figment fan, obviously. So it was really fun. I'm glad we got to go during Festival of the Arts as well, and I'm glad we got to squeeze in this quick trip. And again, I thought the Martin Luther King Jr. weekend would be a lot more crowded. Again, wasn't as crowded as I thought.
It was manageable. If you had Lightning Lane, it was definitely manageable.
Again, but I would definitely go back this weekend too in the future if we ever want to do another long weekend in January. I was like, I'd pick that weekend.
Yeah, just be aware that it's going to possibly be weather like we just had.
It would just be cold as all.
Right.
So you're just
doing that again next year.
You can't win it all, right? So, but all right, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you check out the vlog for this trip that we had as well too. All the visuals that will be also on the YouTube channel linked in the description. But until, make sure you give us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Again, we will see you all real soon.